Hello and welcome to DFS Coach Talk. I am Joe Sarvati, affectionately known as Coach. It is Saturday, April the 17th, 2021, and I am really excited to join you today on what I think is going to be a very profitable day for us at DFS Coach Talk, both in baseball and in the NBA. And that's what I'm here to talk to you about this morning. There is a one-game slate that we are going to cover. The early game, Utah and the Lakers. That's a 4:30 p.m. Game. Some of our members had been talking about wanting to play a solo game. So here we go. We got one this afternoon. And then tonight is a 5-game NBA main slate with the first game not until 8 p.m. Eastern, which is unusual, but we'll take the extra time. And then the last game, the late night sweat game, is at 10 Eastern, and that's San Antonio and Phoenix. So really nice schedule today. Also, hope you're following our MLB pros. That's Josh Davis and Tyler Pitzer. You can check them out at DFS Coach Talk on Twitter. We're all on there together, and we'll be posting a lot of information for the day, whether it's weather for baseball or, always having people in basketball that are counted out here and are questionable and all kinds of player movement. But we love it. I mean, that's what gives us the edge. We're watching this 24/7. And if you're a member with us at DFS Coach Talk, you get the benefit of not having to follow every single piece of news regarding injuries, COVID protocols, etc. So, definitely join us. You can go to at DFS Coach Talk on Twitter, or you can go to our website, dfscoachtalk.com. We have as little as a 3-day membership for $10. Good trial period for you to check out what we have to offer. So we'd love to have you. Really appreciate those that are listening to us every day. Our listenership continues to grow, and we thank you. The only thing we ask you when you're listening to these pods, especially if you're listening on YouTube, if you can take a second, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and then up in the top corner there is an alert button. That'll let you know when our podcast posts. And we are posting 7 days a week in the NBA. We also have PGA podcasts, and coming up soon, within the next month, we're going to be adding Major League Baseball pods in there as well. So fun times. We're growing, really appreciate our new members. We've had a huge influx in the last week or two, and a lot of it has to do because we're red hot here. Specifically, my partner in crime, Mr. Andrew Hansen, he has just been absolutely on fire. Only had about 120K victory last week with a 50K takedown, etc. And really, our entire team here, our pros, have been hot. When you can say your pros at Coach Talk are about 130K plus ahead in the last 7 days. That definitely gets people's attention, and that's pretty much where we're at. So we'd love to have you join us. And, if you have any questions at all, you can always send us those via email. We're dfscoachtalk@gmail.com, or just shoot us a tweet at dfscoachtalk. All right. Let's talk about the games. Well, before we do that, I want to make a couple of comments about yesterday in the NBA. It was one of those really odd nights where a couple of pivots made a big difference. The cash lines were super high. I had a really solid night on DraftKings following our clipboard and a couple of pivots. So I was real pleased there. But on FanDuel, I just got eviscerated is the word, or obliterated, whatever you want to call it. So I apologize to the members for that performance last night. I just got a couple of guys wrong and ended up not sticking to my guns with some guys that I had brought up on the podcast. I've been a big Daniel Gafford fan from, when he first came into the league from Ohio State, when he was with the Bulls initially. And I was very high on him yesterday at his price, but didn't end up having, didn't pull the trigger because I wanted to go with the double crunch power forwards and try to, sweep the board there with Julius and who's the other, and Zion. So we know how the Zion thing turned out. But anyway, it is what it is. Sometimes those things happen. We really emphasize the coach talk process here. And we're going to have a meeting this afternoon. So if you jump in, if you hear this morning, you want to get in, we'll pop you right in Discord right away. And at noon Eastern, we're going to have a weekly community meeting. We have it every Saturday at noon Eastern. And we Q&A, and mainly we talk about what we think is the most important thing in this industry, that a lot of people just dive right into the games. It's only about the games. It's only about the numbers. We feel before you even step to that, it really is about bankroll management, and it's about contest selection. And if you get those two things right and do them consistently, there is no question. I mean, I have been able to have sustainable growth in my bankroll doing this for 6 years by following this process. And a lot of it is playing a decent amount of cash games, not taking the wild shots, where 1.0001 chance to cash, and being really deliberate about it. And we'll talk about that in our meeting today, and would love to share our thoughts on that as a group, because we found that to be a big differentiator for us in this industry. Okay, I promise I'll get off my soapbox. Saturdays when I'm alone on here and Andrew can't force me to keep moving on, I tend to chat a bit. But all right, we have a single game that's very exciting because there's so much news. It is a 4:30 Eastern. We're going to play it as a single game, so we got the captain and the whole 9 yards. Utah's -4. The over-under is 214. And here's the news. We all know Donovan Mitchell, really bad injury. He's going to be out for an undetermined amount of time, which really sucks for the Jazz. They were rolling so well. Conley and Favors remain questionable. I believe Conley will probably play, though. So, we need to keep an eye on that here this afternoon. And then you've got all kinds of people on the report for the Lakers. And believe it or not, it doesn't have AD or LeBron on there. They're usually the ones we talk about every day until they both got hurt. But AD did get the clear, and he's going to be back here playing very soon and ramping up minutes. So he's not going to be, I don't think, playable for a while, but it'll be good for the Lakers to get him back. And then once he's in full gear, if LeBron's still out, he's going to be a very key player on a lot of these slates. But for today, right now, we've got Kuzma probable, Drummond probable. Good luck figuring him out. Schroeder probable, who we all know a couple days back when he was in, he was out, he was in, he was out. It was nuts. But he's probable today. Gasol is questionable. Matthews probable, and Marcus Morris Sr. is questionable. So a lot of moving parts there with the Lakers that we're going to have to consider. So let's take a look at this and see, where are the key plays? What's going to make the difference today? In a single game like this, it's all about, not making a mistake. So that's the key. Where do you spend up to? The $1 million question is, where does all the usage go to from Mitchell? And, it's an interesting statistically where that goes. But if Conley plays, some of it goes to him. Joe Ingles, obviously, with a starting role to take his place, a big jump. Also, Bogdan Bogdanovic, however you say the Bogdan, one's one way and one's the other. But Bogdanovic also gets an increase in shot attempts and usage. O'Neal remains about the same, Gobert about the same. So in really disseminating that, it's Conley, Ingles, Bogdanovich, and Clarkson. So you've got four guys. It's not like one guy just immediately dives up. What you will see, though, is Ingles is a good play just because, when he's playing starters minutes and getting minutes in the 30s, he's hitting value almost every time. So I think he's a solid play. If Conley has no restrictions, I think he's a terrific play. I don't believe I'm going to go any further than that. I think those will be the two key plays for me on the Utah side. A lot of people are going to play Gobert. He could be a good play here, but I'm not sure I want to use the spend up right there. Now, with all these guys out for LA, you're going to have salary. So even though it's a single game, it's not going to be a monster sweat to put your guys together and have to skim on the cost. I think, again, if Conley's in, I'm not going to go Schroeder because I like Conley's defense even at this late stage of his career. But if he's out and he gets to face Clarkson more so, then Schroeder becomes in play for me. I don't trust Kyle Kuzma. He'll get a ton of ownership here. If Morris is in, I like Morris, but he's on the questionable side. Drummond is going to split minutes with Harrell. He's consistent and solid when he's in there. He gets a lot of rebounds and putbacks. And if he's going to get 25 plus minutes, I think he can be right there, not too far behind Rudy. So, it's something to look at from a salary standpoint also. So really, the Lakers side is a little thin. I think that, we need to see what this final news is before we can make some of these determinations. But the guys that I'm initially looking at are possibly Schroeder, Morris, if he's in, and possibly Drummond. And on the Utah side, my focus right now, again, if we get the news that Conley's in, I like Conley and Ingles on that side, Bogdanovich possibly, but don't believe I'm going to pay up for Gobert in this matchup. Hopefully that's the differentiating piece that they can hold him in check. So that is it for that early single game. Single slates, even 2-game slates aren't my favorite. I like the big slates, but we've had some really good success when we do this early game, single game throughout the season so far. And also when we do the after hours slates with 2 games, we seem to be smashing those. So even though I like the big slates, I think, we have as good of a potential to do well on the small ones also. All right, let's dive into this 5-game main slate. It is it's a really interesting slate. Starts at 8 o'clock. The first game is the Detroit Pistons and the Washington Wizards. Detroit is 17-39. The Wizards are 22-33. We have the Wizards and Pistons on the second night of a back-to-back. So that is going to be very interesting. Detroit sat a lot of people that will be back in this game. Washington did play a lot of their regulars quite a few minutes. So how that will affect this game, we have to determine here. Detroit is a 3.5-point favorite, which I thought was very surprising. I guess it's because the majority of their guys are back. Washington being a dog here, even though they've now tied for the 10th position, is very interesting here to see, how they'll bounce back. And according to this line, it almost makes you feel like one of the key guys will sit, but we have not gotten that news. So this is one to stay glued to that really could affect the slate massively if either Westbrook or Beal sit. Now, Beal's coming back from injury. He looked good the last few games, but he did play big minutes. Westbrook has not sat a back-to-back in quite some time now after he sat all of them at the beginning of the season. So we're going to be zoned in on watching who's in, who's out in this game for sure. Right now, as far as pace goes, Detroit is pretty slow, 22nd. Definitely work the ball to Grant, get the ball to either Plumlee inside or Isaiah Stewart. So, a little bit slower, but monster pace up for Detroit, with Washington being the fastest pace in the league. The other good point here is neither team is super adept defensively. Detroit slightly below average at 16th. Washington's still down there at 24. So we should get a lot of up and down, a lot of scoring, solid game for DFS standards. For the Detroit side right now, we have Kojo is probable. So, he could play a very important role with a backcourt that was very thin last night. He did not play yesterday. And then Diallo, Magruder, and Dennis Smith Jr. all remain questionable and were all out yesterday. So when putting this together, I'm considering them, unless I hear different, to be out again. On the Washington side, it's strictly Bertans. He's questionable, which does affect their rotation at the small and power forward for sure. My initial feel, I like this game without question. I think that, Russ is my favorite play. He's super expensive, which I understand, but, on a 5-game slate especially, it's not, like you're going to have 5 or 6 superstars like we've had on some of these 10 and 11, 12-game slates. So Westbrook, to me, is just, he was right around almost 70 fantasy points last night. The guy's motor is just out of this world. And he goes against a defensive backcourt from Detroit that is definitely lacking. So Westbrook highly in play for me. I'm not going to go Beal just because I think there's a possibility he sits. I don't know if they push his minutes after coming back from that hip contusion that really bothered him for a couple of games. I don't know if it's worth them pushing that over the top. So I'm going to steer clear there a little bit. Rui I was on for a while, but he's been a little slumped. He's playing the minutes, but he's not doing a whole hell of a lot with it. So a little down on Rui. The big question here for me is, what are they going to do with Gafford? Gafford was a guy who was on like crazy. If you listened to the pod yesterday, really talked about him having the potential to break a slate, but I didn't end up rostering him on FanDuel. I did on DraftKings, but I didn't because, again, I wanted to, get some of the big wigs at the big spots. Plus, with Lopez and Len still listed on the depth chart above him, and Len starting, it was a little bit of a concern. But it was more evident than ever, and I know that a lot of people are going to go to Gafford now, but he's so much better than Len and Lopez combined that it's not even funny. So they're trying to make the playoffs. I think Gafford gets the majority of minutes at center. And if Plumlee's in, which he's expected to be, he's a decent defender, but Gafford is quicker, a quicker jumper. He tips the ball in, he gets blocks. So Gafford is in play for me, and it's not a points chase. I think a lot of people are going to think it was more fluky. I think he still gets more minutes at center than the other two guys, and hoping that he's able to repeat the performance that he had last night. So he's in play for me. Then on the Detroit side, Jeremy Grant's back and rested, and this obviously you can't get a better pace-up game for Detroit. And, there are times where Grant has absolutely stung me right in the backside, but this game seems like a really good game for him based on pace, who's going to be guarding him. It'll either be Hashimura, Advia, whoever comes off the bench there. It would be even greater if Bertans played because he's such a bad defender. But I think Grant's a really good play here, and his price isn't ridiculous. It's mid-level in my opinion. So I think he's a good look. Kojo also in play for me. If he's playing with no limits restrictions, Since he had come over in that trade from Sacramento, he's played minutes in the 30s and been very effective. So definitely going to look at him as a possible value play if we get the all clear button on him. So an important game, need some news. I can see some Westbrook for sure, some Gafford, definitely Grant, and hopefully maybe get another value play in there like a Kojo. All right, game 2. It's also at 8 Eastern. It is the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Chicago Bulls. The Cavs are 20-35. Chicago is 22-33. It is an island game for Cleveland, but it is the second night of a back-to-back for Chicago, and they played last night and they'll play tonight without Levine, who's their starter. Yesterday, I dialed up Kobe White. I assumed he would be the guy to start and take a lot of the usage from Levine, which it shows when Levine's off the court and Kobe's out there. He crushes it, and he did really well last night, and I expect him to do really well again tonight. Now, is he completely healthy? We need to make sure he's not on the list as injured, so I'm expecting full run from Kobe. It's against a poor Cleveland defensive backcourt, and I think he runs the show. I'm excited to get him in my lineup tonight. He's definitely one of my favorites at his price tag. I think also in this game on the other side of the ball, I think Colin Sexton, he's expensive, but he's a definite guy that you can go after. And the thing is, this is only a 2-point spread, but the problem is it's 213, which is by far, I mean, it's not even close. It's the lowest game by a mile in the over-under. So, to have too much exposure here would definitely be dangerous. You've got the 24th pace team in Cleveland, 11th with Chicago. But the thing that makes me want to have some exposure here, one or two guys, Cleveland's 19th, Chicago's 22nd on defense. So they're not world beaters on defense. And, if they play with any pace, then, there's the possibility that there could be a gem in this game, because a lot of people are going to pass when they see this 20-some points lower on the total. A lot of guys are going to pass this game, and gals. On the Cleveland side, by the way, Dotson and Windler are out. Levine, as we said, was out. Satoransky remains questionable. He was listed as questionable yesterday as well. So, again, not to spend too much time on probably the worst DFS game on the slate tonight, I do have interest in White. I am a little interested in Sexton. Love really disappointed me the last time. His price tag tempts you, but playing alongside of Allen and having some of those guys off the bench now, and Wade and different people, so not going to go there. Don't think there's a need to press it. If I have salary, I'll look at Sexton. If not, this will be just a Kobe White game and moving on down the road. All right, game 3. It is at 8:30 p.m. It's the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. Golden State is 28-28. Boston is 30-26. Boston's a 5-point favorite. It's a reasonable over-under at 228.5. We have Golden State, the second fastest pace team in the league. Definitely gets you interest there. Boston 21st, so they will try to control pace a bit. Defensively, a little concerning. Golden State remains in the top 10 at 9th, and Boston has moved all the way up to 13th. So, is this a key game on the slate? I don't believe it is. I think you're going to get a decent amount of ownership here, but I'm a little hesitant. As far as the injuries, Oubre is questionable, which is important news for Golden State. We need to know that. Eric Pascal is out. And then for Boston, we have two guys out that are starters, and that's Robert Williams and Evan Fournier. So that with those guys out, it definitely pumps up the shots for the key guys for Boston and puts Tristan Thompson on the map as well. So let's take a look. By the way, long term, the rookie's out also for the center for Golden State. So it's been a bit of center by committee for Golden State. Looney's starting. You get Green playing there. There's a few rotation, but nobody worth playing in DFS. I'm not going to go Curry. I know he's the hottest man on the planet, but I think he gets Marcus Smart defense. And I think that, at his price tag and the down pace for Golden State, I'm not going to spend all the bucks there. Draymond will be on the court a lot. He gets to probably check Tatum and vice versa. So, that gives me a little pause there. That really the only guys that I like from this game I'm considering are Kemba and Marcus Smart. Not sure which way I want to go there yet, but it is an island game, so Kemba should be fine to play full minutes. Curry and Wiggins don't scare me defensively, so I think Walker and Smart are in play. You can always go Jaylen Brown, and I'm interested in him. He smashed it for me the last game. But if Oubre's in, he's so rangy, I think he'll bother Jaylen a little bit. So I need that news. If not, the Toscano Andersons and everybody they'll bring in, they'll have to shuffle around their defense. And I don't think they have a really good matchup for Brown. So Brown is in play. One of those three, Walker, Smart, or Brown, are going to be in there, and possibly two of them. So that's all I like from this game. It's rather cut and dry for me. I just don't like the position for Golden State here, having to play at Boston. Super paced down. Boston defense is improving. It just doesn't seem like a good pairing for me. Draymond's going to be out there a lot, so you can always consider him. His price has come up, but that's the only spot I'd probably even take a gander at. All right, we've got two games left. Real quickly before we go into those, we'd love to have you as a member at DFS Coach Talk. We have had just a huge influx of new members over the last couple of weeks. And we really appreciate everybody coming in. They're fantastic. They're downloading the Coach Talk badge and representing out there, on Draftkings, Fanduel, and Yahoo. So really excited about that. Love to have you join our community. Just a quick shout out to some of our new folks, fairly new folks and brand new folks. Slademel, Danelle, are you kidding me? Saskucha Manda Hamadura. Okay, whatever. Love you though. Ross MT, TD21, himself, Ken Jr., Booby J. I like Booby J. King of the North, which I love because the battle picture of Game of Thrones goes up at all of our locks for me. Christian 19999. And then we've got Stack77, Carlos, DePrince, Mel, Dirt Racer J19, Tyree BO7. It's Mikey Baby. He's been here a while. And Big Phil, can't forget Big Phil 209. And not Tava, I see him too. All right, so we got a lot of new people. Want to give a few shout outs. Join that group and jump in our meeting today at noon Eastern. If you want to join, again, go to dfscoachtalk.com. You can sign up. We have multiple options for memberships there. You also can still take advantage of our betus.com.pa relationship. If you are a first-time depositor with BetUS, and they have great lines, phenomenal lines, you want to sign up with them. First deposit, $149. Let us know. Tweet us. Let us know that you signed up with Coach Talk or with BetUS, and then we'll confirm that, and you get a free membership with us until June 1st. So you got another month and a half completely free, And the 149 you put in BetUS, you use there for your wagering. So it really is a terrific offer, and one that's only going to be available here for another couple of weeks. So take advantage of that. If you have any questions, let us know. Shoot us the information. We have great promos with a lot of our new sponsors. Monkey Knife Fight is one of our bigger ones. We're going to be announcing that this week as far as the special promo we have. But right on our website, if you go to dfscoachtalk.com, we have relationships, sponsorships, promo codes for all of the big boys out there. Everything from Jock Market to Super Draft on down the line. So even if you're not a member at Coach Talk and you want to utilize one of our promo codes, just go to our website and there's a page there that has all our sponsors with the promo codes on there, and you are welcome to use those. And for members, we also have a couple of additional, even better promo codes. So we hope you'll come aboard. All right, last two. 9 o'clock Eastern. Memphis Grizzlies at 28-26 against the Milwaukee Bucks at 35-20. This is a second night of a back-to-back for Memphis, and Coach Jenkins does get a little herky-jerky on these back-to-backs with not overplaying guys like Ja and Joval. So a little concern there, but it is against the Bucks. And it's interesting, Giannis played that first game, but just sort of limited, didn't do a whole lot. The question is he back a full tilt here? And, is it worth the risk of spending way up for him? That'll be the $1 million question here. Here's the interesting part about this game. It's an obliterating 236.5. So, to have exposure here is pretty much a must, in my opinion. Milwaukee's favored by 8, but here's the thing. You've got two opposite sides of the coin. Great pace, the best pace game on the slate, and that's why it's so high. Memphis 7th, Milwaukee 4th. So they're going to get up and down, extra possessions, extra opportunity for DFS points. But Memphis is 8th and Milwaukee 7th on defense. So it's not just a walk in the park here where, it's the Olay defense like we get from Sacramento and some of these teams. You score so we can score quicker. There's going to be some defense here. And if this game stays close, being only an 8-game spread, what is going to weigh out? Is it going to be the pace that wins out, or is it going to be the defense? Obviously, Vegas thinks it's the pace. And, I have a bit of a tendency to agree with them here. As far as injuries go, you've got 3 guys from Memphis that are in their rotation that are questionable. Clark, Melton, and Winslow. So we need the news on them. Winslow's been out a bit. So is Melton. I think Clark, is sketchy on and off with a missed game here and there. He may be back. Maybe they were just sitting him on the front night of a doubleheader. So let's follow the news there. The only big news for Milwaukee is Dante DiVincenzo is out. So that does open up probably a start for Bryn Forbes and, some opportunity for a little bit higher usage for the guys that have the highest usage anyway in Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis. So, if we look at this game in the perspective of, what kind of exposure do we want here? How much of our salary do we want to spend? The good thing about Memphis is they're not overly expensive. So you can find a spot for Kyle Anderson, Dylan Brooks at bargain pricing. Grayson Allen's had some good games recently, over 20 real points. So, he's worth at least a look. If Ja's going to get full minutes, it's tempting, but between the two pieces of it's a back-to-back, they usually don't push Ja, and he gets Drew Holiday defense. I'm not going to punch the ticket for Ja today. Joval is a nice play, always a little foul trouble risk. He's been really terrific, but with Giannis protecting the rim, definitely a little bit of concern there. I mean, if you have the salary, it's not certainly a bad play. And on sites like DraftKings and Yahoo, where you can use two centers, he's certainly into consideration for me. On the Milwaukee side, I was one of the people that just, I figured if Coach Bud's playing Giannis, he's 100% good to go. And did not read about any limitations. Played him that last game, somewhat limited. I think he had maybe 30 fantasy points somewhere in there. Wasn't anything to write home about at all. Very disappointing, actually. Is that going to happen again here, or is he going to be let loose? That's the $1 million question. And, as you notice, I have not paid up for anybody really other than Westbrook to this point, which is a huge pay up. With Westbrook and Giannis being the two most expensive, that gets a little bit squirrely. So as of right now, I'm not counting Giannis out as far as rostering him, but he's not in my initial player pool. I'd rather go with with Drew Holiday here, because I think he gets to take advantage of just average defense in their backcourt. I think he has been playing at a terrific level. I really love his game. Not going to go Middleton. I think he's going to get Dylan Brooks' dogged defense. So, really some value on the Memphis side. A couple of their guys between Brooks Anderson, Valanciunas, definitely would like to get some value there. And then the key guy on the Milwaukee side, probably Holiday for me, but Giannis is not out of the picture. If a little bit more value opens up with the news this afternoon, and I have the potential to have the 1-2 punch of Westbrook and Giannis, it's pretty hard to beat. So as of right now, there's not enough news for me to do that, but stay in touch. Follow us on Twitter. I'm at Joe Sarvati. Andrew is at Language Olympic, and you can follow us on there to see where we go. So yes, the highest game total, probably the highest owned game on the slate. I will have exposure, but it's not going to be one of those, stack this game 2v2, that you got to have at least half your squad here. I think you can still diversify with some of the other good plays from other games. So, I've been going stars and scrubs a lot because with all the crazy people sitting, you're almost forced to, because you get so much incredible value. But a little bit smaller slate, not as much value, allows a little bit more of a medium build, which I've had more success with over the years when I'm able to medium build as opposed to stars and scrubs. So we're going to try that today. All right, last game on the slate. It is a 10 o'clock Eastern game, and it is the late night sweat game. You got the Spurs on the second night of a back-to-back. Let me repeat that. You have Doc with his wonderful, or Pop, not Doc, Pop with his wonderful coaching style with the Spurs on the second night of a back-to-back, playing against a great defensive team at Phoenix. So God only knows what he's going to do. I mean, you talk about fear of playing guys, definitely in this one. So, and Phoenix is on an island game and at home. So good luck for the Spurs. It is Phoenix -10, so Vegas smells that as well. 227.5 is the over-under. Here's the other concern in this game, especially, if you're looking at one-offs for San Antonio. They're 18th in pace, Phoenix 25th. So much more of a grinded out defensive half-court game. Defensively, Spurs are 14th, so solid. Phoenix 5th. So definitely, this could be a bust game as far as, the score being very high and a lot of DFS points being available. I will say both teams have most of their bullets in the gun, though. Lyles is probable for San Antonio. Nader remains out for Phoenix. But all the big dogs are here. Murray, DeRozan, Pirtle, and then, of course, Paul, Booker, Ayton on the other side. All playable entities here. The question is, how much faith do you have in this game having enough action and score to get to that number? DeJounte Murray, Chris Paul, respect both of their defense immensely, so I'm not looking at either guy there. DeMar DeRozan gets Mikal Bridges defense. Mikal Bridges is underrated. That guy can defend. So little concern there, and back-to-back for DeRozan. So where do you look to on the Spurs? I'm probably not going anywhere. I don't trust Pop on, these back-to-backs anyway. I would like to have some exposure on the Phoenix side. If I can afford Booker, I want to go up to Booker. And obviously that Giannis decision is going to have a lot to do whether I'm able to get Book in there. But he's on my radar. I think he's a really good play tonight. Also, a couple of cheaper guys that you can consider. 3 of them actually that get good minutes and can be super important is if no other value opens up, and that's Mikal Bridges, Jay Crowder, and Cameron Payne. I think all 3 of them are just completely in that rotation to the point where they're going to get enough minutes to produce value and really round out possibly your slate to allow the salary for some of the buy-ups. So staying away from the Spurs. Definitely want some exposure from Phoenix. Wouldn't mind rostering 2 of the 4 guys mentioned, Booker, Bridges, Crowder, and Cam Payne. So that is it, my friends. We have got it in the books. We have the 1 early game and then the 5-game main starting at 8 Eastern. Hope you got a lot out of this. This should allow you to at least reserve your spots, get a decent skeleton lineup, from this pod in there, and then follow the news throughout the day to get those lineups solidified. So definitely hope you crush it. We'd love to see you here at DFS Coach Talk. We've got another solo slate tomorrow, more games, bigger main slate, so more up my alley, even though I think we're going to hammer it today. Tomorrow I'm excited for as well. So really appreciate all of you tuning in. Shoot us some comments, questions. Take a second. If you're listening to us on audio, please take a second, thumbs up, 5 stars, put a quote somewhere, what you think of the show. Everywhere podcasts can be heard. So Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Podbean, iHeart, you name it, we are there. So take a second there. And then obviously, if you're exiting now on YouTube, a quick thumbs up, subscribe, and hitting that alert button means a ton to us. So thank you again. Have a wonderful, beautiful Saturday. Let's crush this slate and just hammer it in everything we're playing. We've got live lineups in baseball, golf, and obviously basketball. So join us. We'd love to have you. Have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow when we look to crush it in DFS.